Hallo miteinander, I'm Geshi86 and this is the Disappearing of Gensokyo. Last time we took a small step for a celestial and a massive one for heaven. We've also proven that there is water on the moon. So much water, it's going to fill a whole stage today. Our current location is the Sea of Tranquility, mimicking stage 5 of Touhou 15. Of course, we're not going to fight Clown Piece at the end of this one, we already have. Reisen does however inform us that Junko is very close nearby. She knows that thanks to her powers, which as a side note are also the reason we can understand moon speak. Actual moon speak, not the derogatory. Your first question about the Sea of Tranquility must be whether the water affects our gameplay. It does not. Neither do our heroes risk running out of air, nor are our movements heavier than usual. Unlike the death water of Misty Lake, this ocean is purely benevolent. We've got a gimmick-free, fairly standard level ahead of us. If you can call it standard to face hordes and hordes of Lunarians. Once again, we did not bring a special partner along, as I knew difficulty will be backloaded. We have plenty of opportunities to pick up suitable weapons. Already I saw a Chirno there, and in combination with Oku, we've gained a healthy bottom line. The Sniper Rabbit's cowardice really helps them in being as annoying as possible on this stage's map. Basically, it's a narrow string that goes in a spiral. They can retreat away from you without ever getting caught in a dead end. The first magic piece was right here and cannot possibly be missed. The spawning of a few sinsacks also wasn't anything new or scary. The other optional collectibles are going to be more exciting, I promise. This was just the token freebie. Meanwhile, our party members are losing their minds in banter. Marissa just accidentally called herself a Marisian. That sounds as if Marissa was a Martian, and now she declares herself too blind to hear us. That's not how senses work. It would be an anti-Daredevil if anything. After Oku melts the last Sniper Rabbit, we get to something that DOG forgot it had at its disposal for at least half the game: Minecraft explosives. When did we last see those? Was it stage 3? No matter, we've successfully set up a chain reaction and basically skipped a whole group of rabbit androids. Just past that, we're awarded a checkpoint, the only one in the level, and it may be sorely needed. The encounters we have ahead of us are fierce, and they come in top gear, starting from the alcove in the south of us. Once again, that's a hiding spot for a magic piece, as well as the ritual ambush that comes with these. It doesn't seem too bad at first, but this has to be the mother of all ambushes. Enemies will appear all around the level, but then home in on your position. The foes are so numerous that staying in the alcove is a death sentence. Among the cluster is not one, but two imposter Nues. They already announced themselves with their red and blue lasers, and are the deadliest element of this encounter by far. Since they're associated with the Sinsacks, they will sometimes turn against the Lunarians, yet you shouldn't be optimistic. Neither will the Moonfolk be able to kill the thigh-high twins for you, nor should you ever think you'll be completely forgotten. Honestly, this team of Nues, together with the rest of the ambush, is undoubtedly the greatest challenge of stage 15. This does not, however, mean that we are in the clear, as we've just accidentally started a special event. The top right corner instructs us that there are 45 enemies to defeat. That's a pretty steep number for the dimensions of DOG. Furthermore, this horde is split into only a few waves, meaning plenty of bad guys at the same time, with little rest in between. The mentioned event is started when you get too close to Yukari's barrier that is locking up the center of the stage. That's what we did, and the Dispelling Aeon Stone is what we're after. I believe it is the very last Aeon Stone in the game. I must shamefully admit, I did not know EIEN stones, as in Aeonte, was a joke and reference. Ion stones, IOUN stones, are a magic item from the Dying Earth novels. Fans of D&D may have also heard of them. Only after I've read the Planescape Torment novel, which had an Ion Stone, did the joke no longer go over my head. Now we're dealing with loads of enemies. Since the passages of stage 15 are so narrow, I like using kiting strategies. Essentially, we're doing an orderly retreat while shooting. During the assault of the fake Nuas, we went backwards pretty far. Don't be shy to flee all the way to the start of the stage if you are forced to. Overall, it is a smart approach. Now we have our Aeon Stone. Before we deliver it, we'll search the northern opening. Not much is over there except full ammo that we don't need, and a lone forsaken rabbit. Should we have spared her? We could have. Yorihime will rip our heads off regardless if she finds us. Another casualty won't tip the scale. We have the inner spiral of this map ahead of us. There's little to it. All it is a fancy podium for the high and mighty Junko. Not even Tenshi believes that there is any chance we'll become friends with her. There are no more defenses between us and the Divine Spirit, but there is still something else we are missing. The last magic piece, and it's a devious one. You must destroy this generic rock. It's more inconspicuous than the Moonlander last time. Your only hint would be the lore book next to it. Lore books, I've noticed, are often in the vicinity of magic pieces. Up on the plateau is our wanted lady. Since Junko is no mere vassal like Clown Piece, the stage ends here as she gets her own. Now what is happening here? Have the phantoms invaded the Azure Fortress? Is Gensokyo conquered? Our quest over? Dinner is ready, Iku says to White Tenshi. No, the visitors have stabilized their mental condition and become our welcome guests. They're all perfectly friendly now. Well, friendly, yes, but also a little smug and impudent. It was the Phantom's plot to make an orphanage in heaven, and moving in with us was the first step of the way. Alarmingly, Iku is very compliant with this. Not so much Tenshi. We did fight so very hard to keep them away from our base after all. As to whether this impacts our mission, it does not seem so. White Tenshi also wants us to face and interrogate Junko. What could they gain from our success? It is unclear, but from now on at least, the three phantoms you can see on screen will never fight us as enemies again. The lonely, friendless White Tenshi envies us for our caretaker Iku, and tells Tenshi to stay safe for her sake, if anyone's. She mentions that with the thought that Junko is frighteningly powerful, and no, White Tenshi will not help us. Because reasons. Convenient reasons. Convenient for her. To make up for that, the Phantoms will sponsor a feast at some point in the future. So, about stage 15, it is indeed a very challenging level, although honestly not as bad as that blasted stage 11. As I said, you can always move in a way to avoid your enemies, whereas in the Scarlet Devil Mansion, doors will lock behind you, and in this kind of game, that is just the worst. Hello Black Sakuya, we did not have to deal with you on the moon. This troublemaker is now called Sakuya the Magician. No matter the title, she still brandishes a blood-stained knife out in the open. Creepy. I don't know why out of all people airheaded Oku has joined this conference here. She does not have much to add, but you know what? She helped us a lot in today's combat. In fact, I've learned to appreciate her much more over the course of this Let's Play than I originally did. My evaluation of the Hellraven during stage 7 was not exactly kind. Most of it is still true. Oku is a character of many strengths, but also glaring weaknesses. I think I've gotten better at getting around those weaknesses, so Oku is really tougher than I gave her credit. Pretty impressive, even. Also, sure, White Tenshi, you were holding back this whole time. You were one of the weaker phantoms only because you didn't want to be harder on us. Yup, I totally believe you. She also boasts that she could resolve this incident herself. The incident that for the longest time we assumed she caused or was at least a major player in. Someone else has to be the mastermind. Next up, the psychopathic, death-obsessed Black Alice is now called Alice the Artist. That's way more flattering. She primarily bonds over getting master sparked. So does the perpetually horny Alice from the For Busy Person series. Perhaps they are one and the same? Alice the Tailor would be more appropriate, as she has sewn Oku's clothes back together. It looks like she's integrating herself well, despite the sometimes crazy behavior. You know what struck me as odd during stage 15, already when I had my very first playthrough? The translation is somehow very dodgy around this point of the game. I swear it will get better again. I distinctly remember this being only temporary. My theory on why is that this portion was translated very shortly before release, so late that a machine translation might have been utilized as a placeholder. I know it was improved at some point, but possibly still on the basis of the text that was already inserted. If that is true, it explains why we're seeing a lot of English today, more than usual. It should still be decipherable. During the conversation with Iku, we learned about an important characteristic of Junko. She is obsessed with revenge, specifically against the moon goddess Chongi. Just like Parsi is always jealous, Junko can be summed up by vengeance, vengeance, and some more vengeance. Kogasa, we need something from you. I did farm a small amount of points off screen just so that we wouldn't end the game on full pockets. There won't be many more chances to collect some. I think it's better to decrease the delay of Marisa's laser than to raise her movement speed even more. Since we can afford it, let's also allow Tenshi to swing her sword more frequently. That leaves us with a mere 30 points. I hope that wasn't too reckless of me. As I once said, it's smart to always keep an iron reserve, just so that you can choose whatever partner. We've progressed pretty far in DOG, but I've not yet told you much about the developer, MyACG Studio, apart from the occasional name drop. They're a Doujin circle from China, so somehow DOG got known as that Chinese fan game starring Tenshi. That's a pretty throwaway description when you keep in mind how large the Chinese Touhou community is and how many games come from there. Through the 2018 Touhou popularity poll, I've learned that there are at least 3 times as many Touhou fans in China as in Western countries combined. Originating from China shouldn't be declared as the most defining trait of a Touhou fan game. That would be shallow. DOG just happened to be the one from there with the highest production value. Although not under the same brand, members of MyACG have created an earlier project that is very well regarded, the Defense of the Shrines Dota mod. MyACG has also released another game after DOG called Touhou Big Battle. It is a horde builder strategy game with MOBA elements. You can tell MyACG really loves MOBAs. I've recently tried it out, and it's pretty cute and fun, although still in early access and not as much my type of game as DOG is. Byakuren is giving us valuable tips against Junko here, and some of it will sound conflicting. Sometimes she'll call her easy, other times hard. It all has to do with Junko's over-reliance on death zoning, but we'll see that when we get there. For now, we have a new row of perks. They are the Comet, the Yin Yang Orb, and the Keystone. All of them are satellite units, which will fire independently of you, but each with different properties. For now, we'll choose the Comet type, which will immediately swoop in and accompany us. It's fairly helpful on long range, we'll see it in action soon. For today, we are pretty much done. I hope I haven't missed any NPCs. The unusual starting position threw me off. With that, I'm Gish86, this was the Disappearing of Gensokyo, and next time, maximum madness on a road of pure fury. Bis bald!